This is the pronunciation of the Middle English poem that forms the lyrics for Cecilia McDowall's piece of a rose. First, I'm going to tell you how to pronounce Middle English and why it matters. And then I'm going to read the poem so you can hear how it's pronounced. So there are four main things to remember here. Middle English poetry is really not very scary. It's grammatically very similar to modern English. It sounds different because between us and this poem, there was an event called the Great Vowel Shift. Basically, English speakers invented the modern long vowels that we know as A, E, I, O, and U. So this poem was written before we invented those vowels, which means for the purposes of pronouncing it, we're going to forget all about long vowels A, E, I, O, and U. It'll take us a little bit of practice, but the great benefit of forgetting our modern English diphthongized vowels is we no longer have to figure out how to sing those diphthongs that have been bothering us as singers since we were small. I'll pronounce the vowels for you in a minute. I find it helpful to remember that English is basically a combination of French and German, and so if I get stuck and can't remember how to pronounce a vowel, I reach for something that sounds a little bit French or a little bit German, and it may not be perfect, but it's better than those diphthongs that we've been using all our lives, and it's a lot easier to sing. Okay, number 2, in Middle English, you pronounce all of the letters. Nothing is silent. So if it's on the page, you read it. Good. Number 3, Middle English has a lot of final E's. They are all pronounced like a schwa. Number 4, the GH sound that occurs in the middle of one or two words in this poem, the modern word bright, B-R-I-G-H-T. Middle English has that sound, but Middle English actually pronounces it like in the German ich. So when I'm going to get to that word, I'm going to pretend I'm speaking German consonants for just a little minute. If that's too scary while you're singing, you can skip it. Okay, now I'm going to read the stanzas of the poem. Listen, lordings, old and young, who this rose began to spring. Such a rose to mean leaking, in all this world ne kno I none. Alleluia. The angel come from heaven a tour, to great Mary with great honor. Said she should bear the floor, that should break the fiend's bond. Alleluia. The floor sprung in he Bethlehem, that is both bricht and shen. The rose is Mary, heaven a queen, out of her the blossom sprung. Alleluia. The first branch is full of nicht, that sprung on Christmas nicht. The star shone over Bethlehem bricht, that is both broad and long. Alleluia. The second branch sprung to helle, the fiendes poor doen to felle. Therein nicht none soul dwelle, blist be the team the rosa sprung. Alleluia. The thread branch is God and swot. It sprang to heaven, crop and rot. There to dwell and ben o'er bot. Every day it shot in priestess hand. Alleluia. So that's the poem. To anticipate a few questions I would have if I were reading Middle English for the first time, their long O, like in the modern word rose, is a closed O, like in German. So line 2, hures Rose. And then in the very next word, modern word began, you're going to use a Middle English long E, which is a closed E sound. So instead of saying began, you're just going to say began. Down at the bottom, the penultimate line, you're going to hear one of the Middle English diphthongs, similar to ours, but a little bit different. Every day, it's short, and priestess hond. So that's the poem. Content-wise, as you can see, it's a very, very characteristic medieval English lyric comparing Mary to a rose. Medieval Christians loved Mary. They were all about her. She was seen as the paradigmatic Christian. One should aspire to be her, and one should emulate her in her purity and her devotion to Christ. So that's what this is about. Very, very classic Marian religious lyric. And the beauty about singing the Middle English is once you learn how to pronounce it, the vowels come out sounding just beautiful.